Hi, we're Michael and Amy, and we're here to show you the fast-track blueprint to a reconnected union.
Exactly how we turned our lifeless coexistence into a thriving, deeply connected partnership. Actually, without making the other person feel wrong, or spending hours in marriage counselling, or changing who we really are.
Alright, so this is for you if, in spite of everything, you've tried everything but you really desire a deeply connected relationship and you know that it's possible and you know that you can access that depth.
And you want this deep connection, but maybe life's too busy.
Yeah, like you know you've got a great friendship and at the core of it you're good friends, but it's like you've lost that core electricity that actually used to exist in your relationship.
It's kind of feeling a bit stale or boring, like you've been together for years and years and yeah, things are okay, but you just want that little bit more of a spark or reignition again in the partnership.
Maybe you feel like you're forcing everything and we're just not able to find any flow anymore. Yeah, you realise the relationship's been neglected and it just needs attentiveness to really turn towards it so that you can nurture the bond again.
Maybe you're just in this kind of conflict cycle of arguments and your communication is really bad and you're not seeing or hearing each other, you're not feeling like the other person's appreciated, or maybe just deep down you're kind of wondering if this is even worth continuing.
You know in your gut that the whole thing's just gone stale and it's like this big elephant in the room and you're just not really talking about it anymore, but you're kind of just coexisting.
So this is also for you if you know that you deeply love each other, but you just don't know how to get this relationship back on track.
All right, I want to be clear. This is not for you if you believe your partner has to do all the work and you've already checked out of the relationship.
Yeah, and it's not for you if you're not committed to showing up, to doing some work, so putting some time and effort back into the relationship space. And just lastly, I think it's not for you if you've lost hope. If you've got no hope and you feel like maybe the relationship is not repairable, then this program is not for you. So you might not know, but before we did this inner work, we used to be in a pretty bad way. Michael and I were very separate in our relationship, particularly when the kids came along. And things got hectic and busy and we lost our path and we lost our ways. And this created a real divide and a disconnect in our relationship.
Yeah, I think our communication started to break down, you know, when there was tension, extra tension that come into our space. And of course that was kids and that was roles and responsibilities and then money and finances and extra pressure and stress ended up just coming into our lives. And I think that really exposed, you know, our lack of communication and that led to cycles. I just remember like we would actually move to this point where we would avoid conflict altogether. And I know for me, like I would often just shut down and go and disappear.
And I think I have this vivid memory of kind of getting into these like tit for tat arguments. Like it would be the smallest thing, right? I would ask you to take the bins out. And there was so much kind of resentment, I suppose, in each other that we would end up kind of going, no, it's your turn to take the bins out. No, it's your turn to take the bins. Why should I always have to do this? And we'd end up in this kind of push and pull between the two of us, which felt really childlike, to be honest.
I would look for escapes. You know, I'd look for ways in which I can distract myself or even release, you know, tension that existed in my body. And I remember just going to visit friends and actually whinging to them about our relationship and how bad it really was.
We were really kind of unfulfilled, longing to kind of connect, but we were so stubborn and stuck in our way that we wouldn't let our guard down because it was this protection mode that I was in. I was trying to defend myself and you were trying to defend yourself and we would just kind of keep butting heads every time, right?
I think it left a void in me and I just tried to fill that void with, you know, with external things. And so we'd move to maybe buying another holiday, like we could go on another holiday, you know, and so we'd spend money on that. We would like look to maybe purchase another investment, you know, and that would give us some distraction. And then I would just work long hours. I just remember just thinking like, well, if I'm not really valued and appreciated and respected in this relationship, then where can I find respect and appreciation outside of the relationship? And for me, like often that was in the workplace.
Yeah, I remember you were so busy. I'm like, even at nights you go into the office and I'm like, wow, he's really not wanting to hang out with me.
I think the criticism that I was copying from you was just like this wall of fire. And I think I developed this strategy that was not helpful. Momentarily it was. And what I was doing was I just try to please you. I just try to find out what you want and see if I can make it better for you. And so I found myself giving up my own needs consistently and then just really trying to make you happy through giving up myself in the process. And everything came crumbling down. My blood pressure was through the roof. I had heart palpitations. My joints were inflamed. I was getting depressed. My hair was falling out in clumps and I was so stressed and I didn't actually know how we were ever going to turn our life around.
I was like in a relationship, but I was alone. And I feel like you were the same, right? Like I couldn't go to you to get support or to feel like you were there for me. I had to just keep this hyper independence going.
For me, the sex was scarce, right? So we weren't connecting physically because emotionally we weren't connected.
You get the point. We weren't in a good way.
Yeah.
And now that is why we are so passionate about sharing this new way with you. Everything changed when we started to do what we're about to share. And if you want this, then take a note and listen up, because there's some really simple ways that we've shifted our relationship.
We got to this point where we needed to change. And thankfully we didn't have to go through months and months of marriage counselling, but it was a long process. Like now I just reflect, and it's so hard for us to relive that story, the old story, but we get each other now, right? Like we're so deeply connected at a soul level. And I feel like I can open up to you vulnerably, safely, and really express what's going on for me. And I know that you'll hold that. And the bond that we actually have is also transferred into our physical connection as well.
I feel like we can easily communicate now. Like there's no topics that are too big. But that's a big thing for me, because before, my old way was just shut everything down, hold it all in, try and remember how to process it. But this new way that we've communicate now, that it's also included in this program, is so much more effective. And I feel like I'm heard. I feel like I'm understood. I feel like we can open up about just about anything now, right?
Yeah, you can really see me, I can really see you, and through that comes mutual respect, right? So I feel respected, I feel appreciated for even the little things that I'm doing. I never got that before, but now I'm getting it. And so, you know, it really has changed also our family dynamic as well. So you can imagine, like, now our home is one filled with love, whereas before it was filled with whimsical dreams of what it could be, but we were stuck in this suffering and pretending that it's okay with all the things that we were buying and the holidays we were going on, but it just wasn't fulfilling, right?
Yeah, it feels so much more real and aligned and wholesome. You know, like I feel like we've got this full spectrum of love that's oozing through every part of us, with including our family.
Instead of restricting each other's purpose, which actually we felt was happening, now we're really like celebrating. And I think that security is really important in our relationship, but so is freedom, right?
It's been a journey, right? So over this 7 years, we have now put together all of our learnings, like all of our study, all of our trainings, all of our own experience. And we've dived head first into this relationship space so we can create this program, this blueprint that we have in a really short and simple way, so you don't have to take years and years to get to what we're experiencing now. Because we are so passionate about other people wanting to experience this exact thing, because we believe that this is what life is about. This is what relationships about, and this is how we're able to now share this in an easy, succinct, simple way.
Most couples never learn these two simple skills that can move you from being really reactive and triggered to being really grounded and present.
So are you guys ready to be the best you can be for each other?
The problem is that most couples, like when we fall in love, everything is really wonderful and flowing, and oxytocin's flowing between the two of us. But the communication starts to break down when there's some tension, right? After maybe 6, 12 months. And then the gap widens, right? And you can't really understand each other, and the triggering gets worse and worse, right? And you don't feel like you're in love like you used to be. The truth is, just the love is still there, but you just don't really know how to consciously communicate with each other. I think what happens is you end up becoming really directionless in where you're actually going in your relationship. So what's crazy is just about every couple that we work with is stuck in a cycle of conflict in some way, right? And whether you're flaring up or whether you're shutting down, either way we move into this cycle of conflict. And we need to really understand that there is a beautiful conscious way that we can communicate with each other. And actually this is exactly what changed the relationship for Rory and Katie.
Yeah, they used to have this issue where Katie wouldn't hear Rory, and Rory would just keep trying to fix problems and solve problems for Katie.
The positive way that we communicate now has definitely brought more of a connection for me. Like I feel more connected to Rory. I hear him better, I think.
Would you like to go from feeling utterly invisible to unprecedented intimacy in your relationship?
Yeah, I think most couples deeply desire to be intimately connected at a soul level. And in order for a man to feel loved, generally he needs physical connection and intimacy, right?
But the woman, she needs to feel heard and seen and understood from the inside out.
Yeah. What happens is couples just slowly drift apart, yeah? And because normally their needs just aren't being met. And they end up becoming kind of like strangers, you know, and we're living under the same roof, but we've just like created this island amongst ourselves and we just can't seem to or don't want to connect at that deeper level.
So we did some work with a couple, Dimity and Juan, and they couldn't be more opposites, right?
Oh, yeah.
These two were like one spectrum to the other. And through the process that we have in our program, they have learnt to understand why they're wired like that. Why does Dimity need all of this reassurance and understanding? And why does Juan back away and hide when he's feels at any sort of threat or conflict?
Like, we do have the same wants and needs in this relationship, and really pulling all that away and getting to the heart of why we're together and what we really want kind of melted, you know, the anger. I would say our fights aren't as much anymore. And they were very frequent. They were nearly daily. I think they're not like that.
Oh, look, there's there's just your normal blow-ups over like clothes on the floor.
Yeah, I think it's a lot better.
So would you like to go from feeling burnt out to burning with passion?
We feel too selfish to actually take any time out to do anything for ourselves. But the issue here, this leaves us feeling unfulfilled, empty cup, and often reactive and no space to create or become the person that you want to be. This actually leaves you feeling like, what's the point? There's a premature end to this beautiful relationship that maybe you're desiring, but how can you get there? We help you guys to get to that point, to know where you're going, but also to be able to speak up about what you desire and what you need in order to fill your cup.
Yeah, there was a couple that we work with, Angela and Neil, who actually had this exact problem, right? And they were leaking energy all over the place. They never really had an idea of where they were heading in their relationship because they were kind of stuck in their current patterns. And really, like, there was just this lack of vitality and vibrancy in the relationship.
Yeah, have a look at what their story was.
I'm going to get a little emotional. He is an incredible man. I kind of feel like I've fallen in love with him again. Seen how committed you are to us. It is such a beautiful offering you have too, because I also just have witnessed Neil being comfortable and connecting with you, Michael, as well. Him just being like, I don't know, felt more safe to
it's made it easy.
dive deeper into things.
So if you want our fast track blueprint to a reconnected union, so you can turn your lifeless coexistence into this deeply thriving connected relationship, book a call now so we can guide you through how to do this.